Hi, I am going to share with you a little bit about the wave that shook the world that we watched. Sorry, I'm going to fast forward a little bit on this, but you're going to be doing an activity today, and that's called tracking tsunamis. So it says on December 26, 2004, scientists at the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center learned of the speed of the Indonesian tsunami and tracked it as it moved across the Indian Ocean. They were able to notify East African officials of the impending disaster. In this activity, you will calculate the approximate speed of 3 tsunamis and create a time travel map and chart that shows their arrival at specific geographic locations. And it says your procedure. First, it says to research and label your world map with each of the geographic locations presented in the scenarios, and I'll show you that in just a minute. It says 2, you're going to use a drawing compass. I can tell you that you are not going to do this part. Okay? So, I have a tool here. Give me just a second. Sorry. But you're not going to do this part. You're not going to draw. You're going to read the scenarios and apply the formulas to determine the speed of the tsunami and the time it takes to get to each location. And you do not need to write down the order. So you're doing steps 2 and step 3. Okay. It shows on this page that the speed for finding the wave, the speed of a tsunami wave is g times d, where the speed is the square root of g, which is acceleration due to gravity, which is 9.81 meters per second squared. And d is the water depth in meters. And we're going to have to do some converting, and that's what this next part covers, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, so we're going to do the first one together. So you have some scenarios. We're going to work on this one. It says that there's an earthquake in Seward, Alaska. It's big enough to produce a tsunami. The ocean depth is 4,000 meters. And we have to use that formula to find the speed of the tsunami and how long it's going to take to get to these 3 locations. We're going to do the Kodiak, Alaska one together, and I'm going to walk you through the steps. Okay? So I'm just going to open something else here. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to find the tsunami wave speed. Okay? So how do we do that? Okay, I'm just going to get a drawing tool here. Give me just a second. That way I can write on the screen here and you can see. Okay, so to find the tsunami wave speed, we know that the speed, all right, slideshow. Sorry guys, a little bit of technical difficulty today as I try to work with this. All right, so first thing we need to do is find the tsunami wave speed. Okay, so I'm going to take my pen. Okay. All right, and we're going to write with our pen here. And we know that speed all right, sorry. It's like catching my hand on here too. All right, sorry, I was having some screen difficulty there. I think I got it figured out. So first we want to find the tsunami wave speed. And we know that speed is equal to the square root of g times d. And we know that g is 9.81 meters per second squared. And we know d is the water depth in meters. Okay, and if you didn't catch that, it's on the front page. So if we're going to find the speed of that first tsunami wave coming from Alaska, and g we know is 9.81, and we're going to multiply that by the wave depth, which it tells, or the water depth, which we know is 4,000 meters. That's what the sheet tells us. So when we take 9.81 times 4,000 and put it in the square root, we're going to round to the whole number, and we're going to get 198 meters per second. Okay, that's great. The problem with that is we have to convert our 198 meters per second to kilometers per hour. And the reason that we have to do that is when we get our distances between our locations to figure out how long it's going to take, all those numbers are going to be in kilometers an hour. We're going to use dimensional analysis, which you learned way back at the beginning of the year with Mr. Eggenberger. So we have 198 meters per second. And then we have to figure out how many meters are in a kilometer. Okay, if you don't remember, it's on the front page, but it's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. This is that railroad tracks we learned. And then we want to know how many seconds are in 1 hour. Okay, 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute. So that gives us 3,600 seconds in an hour. So if I take 198 times 3,600, and then I divide it by what's on the bottom, which is 1,000, I'm going to round to the whole number. I'm going to get 713 kilometers per hour. So that's how fast my wave's going to travel across the ocean. Okay, now I have to find out the kilometers between the two locations. If I go back to my sheet, it tells me that it starts in Seward, Alaska, and I'm trying to figure out how long it's going to take to travel to Kodiak, Alaska. Okay, so we're going from Seward, Alaska to Kodiak, Alaska. Okay, so how are we going to do that? I have a tool for you on Schoology. So if you go to Schoology, it'll say this distance between two locations, and I opened it up in a separate tab. And this is what it is. And it's a way we put in latitude and longitude of the two locations. And then down here, when we push execute, it will tell me how many kilometers there are between. So I'm going to go to this Google map, and I'm going to type in my address. So I'm just going to type in the city, and it's Seward, Alaska. And then I'm going to press the search button over here, and what's going to do is it's going to use Google Map to show me where that location is. So there's Seward, Alaska. If I want to see where that is in Alaska, I can zoom out. Okay, and I can see it's like right here on Alaska. This is going to be important. We'll come back to it, but you're going to plot this on a map in just a minute. So I'm going to say okay. So now it has those latitude and longitude. Then I'm going to type in my other location. So I have Kodiak, Alaska. I have to say search so it finds it. Okay, this is a little further west. So Seward's here, Kodiak is here, and I'm going to say okay. And now when I press this execute button, down here it's going to tell me the distance. So it's 308.78 kilometers away. We're going to round that to 309. Okay, so this is 309 kilometers in between. Okay, so next we have to figure out how long it's going to take that wave to get there. So we take our distance, 309 kilometers, and we divide that by our speed in kilometers per hour, which we said was 713 kilometers per hour. And when we do that, we're going to get a time of 0.43 hours. Okay. If we had a number here, that would be how many hours. And this is the minutes. But it's 0.43 of 60 minutes, not of 100. It's not 43 minutes. It's 0.43 of 60 minutes. So we have to take that decimal hours and make it minutes. So we go 0.43 times 60, because that's how many minutes are in an hour. And when we multiply that, we are going to get 25.8, and that's going to round up to 26 minutes. Okay, so what I need to put on my assignment, okay, I'm going to go back to my assignment, is right here next to Kodiak, Alaska, I'm going to write 0 hours, 26 minutes. Okay, the other thing that I need to do is I need to go to the next page, and I have to label those two places. So I know here's Alaska. This is Seward, Alaska. and this one is Kodiak, Alaska. Now, you can label it two ways. You could write the names next to it, or you could do a letter or a number and then put a key down here, whatever works for you. Just know that 3 of these little dots on here, I'm going to ask on the homework quiz on Monday for you to identify what the location is. The only one that you are not going to map is the Dutch Harbor, Alaska. There's not a third point in Alaska, so you won't have to mark Dutch Harbor, okay? So that's how you do this assignment. So now you know the speed of this tsunami wave. You can find the distance from Seward to Kauai Island, Hawaii, and do the same thing, and then the Marshall Islands location. Then you have a new tsunami wave, so you'll have to find its speed to find out how long it's going to take to get to these 3 locations. If you are really lost, please talk to me on Monday and I will help you with this, okay? Just let me know if this is something you're not understanding, okay? So that's it for this video. If you need to go back and rewatch, and I can walk through those steps again. Please email me if you have any questions that I can help with. Good luck.